guys, this right here is my buddy Wade, or as all the people in my shops throughout the years have called him, Bald Fade Wade. He comes in once a week for a bald fade, and what we do with him is very personalized to what he likes. And I'm just going to talk about what my steps are in the process for this. So right now what I'm doing is I'm going across the top of his head with the Wall Senior with the Fat Master blade on there fully opened. So it's kind of in between a 1.5 to a 2 if you're going on detachable blade systems, but this is just such a smooth cutting clipper setup. I like just doing this on him. Sometimes I'll use the detachable, sometimes I won't. But I'm just kind of going through, taking care of that top. Now I'm coming in there with my Low Pro FXs with the gold blade, which actually did help out a whole lot with noise. Just to bald out those sides. And what I do, guys, I go around the head all at once with my tool. I'm going to try to see if I can keep my cutting style true to form whenever it comes to showing you the tutorials. You won't see everything, but it's kind of the gist of once I pick up a tool to do one thing on one side of the head, I'm going to take that around through the entire haircut to the other side. And that right there kind of keeps your guidelines consistent, keeps your mindset on the task at hand, doesn't let you get distracted or think otherwise with different steps. So to me, it keeps me on track, keeps my ADHD mind doing what I want it to do, and it's a big help. So what I do is I go through and I set my bald line, but now what I'm doing is I'm taking my shavers, and you can see I'm not starting up all the way to the line, I'm starting a little bit below it. But a lot of people don't talk about this, and this is a very helpful instruction. If you go back and watch this, whenever I start off with my shaver, I go with the grain down for my first pass using both foils. Then after I've gone down, I come back up and I don't go as high as I did whenever I started going down. That continues a blend. Going down with the grain with a shaver will leave it longer, so minutely, but it will leave it longer than going against the grain. So that also helps keep that bald line from not being so visible and helps you transition that into the rest of the hair. So I'm just going around the sides and back doing the shaver. And guys, whenever it comes to doing haircuts for people, it's very important to know that your main job is to keep your client happy. If your client doesn't leave happy, what's the point? Now, this may not be a haircut that you do on a lot of people. For one thing, he does have receding hair. It's thinner up top. And he has got salt and pepper. So this is not the kind of haircut that a lot of people like to show for their tutorials. But I like to show it because it's helpful. It's helpful to learn these steps. So right now I'm going through, after going through with the shaver, with the Apex, Stylecraft Apex, fully open. And that's going to leave it, short of a 1, but maybe around 3/4 of a length. And I'm going through and I'm just setting another guideline, just going up maybe about an inch on the back, maybe about half an inch on the sides, kind of helping that transition mask out a little bit. As you see, I work around the head all at once. I just prefer cutting that way. I think it's an easier way to have a system. I know that for tutorial purposes, most guys cut online doing one side of the head, then the other side, then the back. To me, you're having to repeat steps at that point, and that's just not what I like to do. And I'm taking that fade brush in mind. I have different varied brushes like that help just scoop the hair away, especially when it comes to salt and pepper fades. You want that. You want to be able to clear the scalp of the hair that you've already cut. And this allows me to move around and kind of transition that bald length to that 1.5 length up top and kind of work the angles on that. And now I'm going with it about halfway closed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start to push out that line a little bit more. Just pushing out that line. This is about on the 3rd click. And you can see it's already starting to disappear a little bit. Starting to get that blur effect. But the thing about bald fades, guys, is just take your time. Be sure you have a system set up with any fade, truthfully. But just the thing about cutting is have a system that you've set up. Me personally, I like working from the top down. And the reason for that being is that whenever you already have a desired length up top, you don't have to guess what you're cutting to. If you haven't taken care of the top, a lot of times you're guessing with what length you're going to leave it, what length they prefer it. If you start off on top with the client happy, you know where to cut to. And let's be honest, most haircuts are defined by what the top is. If it's a flat top, it's because the top's flat. If it's a side part pompadour, it's because the top is styled that way. If it's messy, if it's a crop, if it's heavily textured, all that stuff is defined by the top. So if you get the top right first, to me, the rest of the haircut's just downhill. Pun intended, sure. So right now I'm going through and I'm just kind of buffing out with it all the way closed. And you can see it's closing up quite nicely. And guys, that is definitely a product of having your blades adjusted properly. The way my system is set up is that I have my blades tuned in to where I have a short trimmer, I have a long trimmer, I have clippers that can go all the way down to that short trimmer length, and I have clippers that can go up to, my adjustables with that Fat Master blade go all the way up to just under a 2. So now, guys, I'm coming in, I'm connecting the whole piece. I'm coming through with a 1 open on the apex. I take that back, it's a 1 closed on the apex. Coming in with that 1 closed on the apex, and I'm just kind of buffing out some of those longer hairs in between. Just brushing away the rest of the stuff and keeping it going. And a lot of times when it comes to fades, guys, especially with dense hair density, hair color differentials like with the salt and pepper hair, what you have to do is sometimes you have to almost kind of relax your eyes. Don't see the individual hairs, but see the color that's leaving the scalp. And as you go through that, you can see where you need to maybe take it a little shorter, leave it a little longer. The format, the foundation of a fade is a smooth transition from long to short. But to make it look proper with divots in the head, with hair density, sometimes what you just have to do is kind of blur your eyes, and at one point you're just mostly fading the color of the hair to the color of the scalp. So I'm just going through and doing that right now, just doing little brush ups here and there, taking down a little bit here, a little bit there, and then we're starting to see that blur. Now I'm taking my FX3, which I've got set to be my kid's trimmer, or what I consider my long trimmer, and I'm going through and I'm buffing out that little bit of a line, a little bit of a transition between the Babeless Low Pros to the shaver. And it's just tying everything up together real nice. Guys, let me know what you think about these camera angles. I've got a rig set up above my chair that allows me to kind of get my eye view of things as I cut. Let me know how you feel about the lighting too. I'm trying to get this dialed in. So right now I'm going in there once again with the 1, leaving it slightly open and helping transition that to the top completely. And guys, this is what barbering is all about. You can see my guy right there, he's talking. We know each other real well. It's the haircuts are one thing, but the thing that makes you a great barber is to be able to connect to your clients. What I'll do is to finish up the haircut, I'll go through and I'll make sure that my edges are truly smooth with that shaver. I'll take off any little hairs that escape the trimmer to begin with, and I'll take my shaver and I'll kind of do some circular motions and kind of buff out those edges. I'll turn it over and use just 1 foil like I'm doing right there, just taking out things around the edges with that 1 foil, just being sure it's nice and smooth. And guys, I gotta say, these FX3 shavers and trimmers, they are amazing tools. If you haven't tried them. I like for my foils to be a little bit on the lighter side. You don't have to have a heavy foil. They just need to have power behind them, and those FX3 shavers are powerful shavers. Going through and just buffing out those edges. Well guys, that's it for my bald fade tutorial. Typically at the end of a haircut, I do a hot lather neck shave with a steam towel. I did not capture that in this one, but I'll be showing that in future ones. Still learning this whole tutorial thing. So any likes, subscriptions, I appreciate it, guys, and I'll check you on the next one. See ya.